Hello F1 fans and welcome back to the F1 Masters podcast brought to you by AUBG Daily. As usual, you're with David, Vasco and myself, and today we're going to react to our 2025 Formula 1 season predictions and see whether they were good or not necessarily that good. And we're going to start with the Drivers' Championship and go from bottom to up. So we're going to start with who we predicted for 21st. And I actually got this one correct, as I said, Jack Doohan. I was certain that he would be replaced at some point by Franco Colapinto, so yeah, it was actually a good prediction. You guys?
All of us were certain that there would be 21 final drivers in the standings, which is a bit crazy, but it was quite expected. And I also put Jack Doohan at 21st, and at some point during the season I even forgot that he raced in F1.
Sure.
Yeah, I also predicted that Jack Doohan would be dropped, but I still didn't predict him 21st because I thought the Sauber was going to be so horrendously bad that Jack Doohan would still finish ahead of them in the championship. So I put Jack Doohan 19th. So not the greatest of starts, but yeah, that's me just really thinking how bad the Sauber will be when the Sauber actually got a podium in the end of the season. So you live and you learn, I guess.
I cannot believe how bad this Alpine was.
Yeah.
I expected at least a bit more from them, but at one point of the season they were like, we're not going to deal with this anymore.
Yeah,
but
I really thought the Alpine was not going to be as bad as it ended up being, which is why I predicted him
was horrendous.
higher than that. But in 20th place, it was the guy that replaced him, Franco Colapinto. And where did you guys predict him in the end? Because I predicted him to actually finish P14, but he was nowhere near that.
Well, I actually got him P16, so...
Mine is P13, which is horrendous. He never took a single point. I think this is my, looking at the predictions now, yes, this is probably my worst prediction.
I think like Franco Colapinto was good last year, when he went into that Williams, but this year, like, so many races, I thought he started slow, but I thought he was gonna get better. I mean, the car didn't help him at all, but he couldn't get 1 point.
During the second part of the season, Alpine were nowhere to be seen. They were like, do you remember Williams, like a few years ago with during the times of Russell and Kubica and how they were separated from the whole field? That was Alpine in the last few races.
Yeah, I think Colapinto caught up to Gasly a little bit, but the car was just so off that he had no chance to score any points.
Poor Pierre Gasly. Actually, to get 22 points in that truck.
Impressive, honestly.
Yeah, actually. But moving up to P19, we have Gary Bortoleto, and I actually got him correct, as I expected Sauber to be even worse, as already mentioned, than they were. But he actually got 19 points, so yeah, not bad.
Yeah, I picked him 20th because once again I thought the Sauber was just going to be so bad, but I also predicted him to finish ahead of Nico Hülkenberg, also not correct. Gabby Bortoleto, fine season. I think he can be proud with it considering, the pace of the car. I
also placed Gabby Bortoleto at 19th. And that was spot on. Even though with the capabilities of the car, I think he would have been able to at least pass the 18th place Pierre Gasly. But I think we saw some really good glimpses for him, and I hope that would be a stepping stone for his career, because it is more than obvious that he has an immense talent. And at 18th we have Pierre Gasly, which is one of my worst predictions as well, because I believed in Alpine and they let me down. And I have placed him at 10th, which is 8th place difference.
Yeah, I also placed him 10th. The Alpine looked good in testing, and Pierre Gasly, we know how good of a driver he's been in recent years, and he still performed well like this year. It's not his fault. The car was just horrendous, and they just stopped developing it halfway through the season. So there was no chance of a P10 finish, that's for sure.
No.
So all of us have him at P10, which is horrendous.
Which is crazy.
Yeah, but going up, we have Yuki Tsunoda. Vasco, what do you have to say about this?
Horrendous season. Even though I didn't know that he was going to move from RB to Red Bull, I still placed him at 15th, and he somehow managed to finish lower than that. He was 17th, which is 2 places difference, but it is crazy to drive almost the whole season in the Red Bull car. As I said in some of our previous episodes, I don't care about excuses. You are in a Red Bull. You need to get more than 30 points in 21 races.
24 actually, right?
No, he was in
Ah,
Red Bull
okay,
for
22,
for 22 races.
Yeah.
Alright.
Plus sprints, yeah.
You need to take. He took like 25 points or something like that, which is crazy.
Funnily enough, out of the sprint races, he finished in the points like four times in sprint races, which is actually kind of crazy. But whenever it comes to the main race, nowhere to be seen. I didn't think Yuki Tsunoda was also gonna go to Red Bull, but I thought that he was gonna be good in that RB as he has been in previous years, and I predicted him P12. And if you look at Isaac Hadjar, he finished P12. So I think if he stayed in that car, totally possible he would have been around that place. But nope, instead it's 5 places off.
Same for me actually. I also got in P12. I remember that David and I had pretty similar predictions. So P16, there was Lance Stroll, and I said that he would be P20 because I did not believe as expected in Lance Stroll. I think the others also had him lower, but let's see.
I mean, looking back at it, P20 for an Adrian Newey Aston Martin is kind of absurd, I would say. But I actually predicted him P18, a little better, but still he finished P16. I mean, how am I supposed to predict that Lance Stroll is going to beat Yuki Tsunoda in a Red Bull and Pierre Gasly?
I had him spot on 16th. Which
How
is
do you do that?
Which is fire. Well, because I predicted that he would have a poor season, and he actually had a poor season. The first 3-4 races had me like I was like, yeah, they got us in the first half, but but yeah, I expected that he would have some opportunities because this Aston Martin was actually not that bad. It was far away from, let's say, Williams. But still, there were some races where they were great, and actually Lance Stroll took more than he deserved actually from this season, and that is why I've placed him 16th, and he was actually 16th, which is
good
job.
Yeah, impressive. And 15th is actually my first spot-on prediction, and it is Esteban Ocon. Although I did predict him to finish ahead of Ollie Behrman, I got 15th spot on. I'll actually take that. Pretty bang average season for Esteban.
Yeah.
I was pretty close to getting that one correct because I predicted Ocon to be 14th, and he's actually 15th, but he's with the same points as Liam Lawson. But still, I think that this was an alright prediction.
I also got him 14th. It was really close, and I also put him ahead of Oliver Behrman. Yeah, I've regretted this decision since.
I mean, they finished very close on points, 3 points difference.
Yeah.
And Oli showed some amazing drives throughout the season.
Especially in Mexico.
Yeah.
Going to the 14th, which is Liam Lawson, which nobody expected to go back to RB so quickly.
Yeah.
I had him 8th. Yeah.
I also had him 8th. I thought he was going to be worst of the best cars, but he got dropped after 2 races. And I think he still had a decent season. He had some pretty good performances. But nowhere near 8th place, that's for sure.
I mean, it's alright, like...
He kept the seat, so...
Yeah, I had him 7th and he finished 14th. This is my worst predictions of them.
A disgraceful prediction.
Yeah, what can I say? Like, if we approached every F1 season expecting that a driver would be dropped from his seat in 2 races, we have to be crazy. But going up the grid, number 13 was Ollie Behrman with amazing season in my opinion, but still I had him 17th, 4 places difference, but I really want to say shout out to Ollie Behrman. I think he has a bright future in the sport.
Yeah, also Ollie Behrman, like at the summer break, had only 6 points on the board, and he ended up with 41. He had five consecutive points finishes, including that P4 in Mexico. Really, really good end to the season. Was really impressed by him and managed to outscore his much more experienced teammate in his rookie season. So, not much more to ask for. I predicted P16. I was a little more pessimistic. I wasn't sure if he was gonna beat Ocon in his first season, but he did, and. Had better results, so credit to him.
Yeah, I had him P15. I guess I believed a little more in him, but still not enough, as he impressed all of us, honestly, during this season. And going up, we have Isaac Hajar in 12th. I actually predicted him P18, as I thought that he would have a really tough season, really like a rocky season, but actually he managed to get a podium and completely shatter my expectations.
Yeah, Isaac Hajar. I remember when we were talking about the preseason, like none of us thought he was gonna be like really good at all. Like, we just thought he's just this another Red Bull Junior average driver, but he was
another Brendan Hartley, let's say.
Yeah, and he crashed on the formation lap on his first ever race, so it was not looking good. But he had great qualifying pace, especially really impressive. He actually had more Q3 appearances than Lewis Hamilton. Ha ha ha! Ferrari pain. Got a podium. I don't think anyone expected that, obviously. And yeah, ended the season 51 points and with a Red Bull seat next to Max Verstappen, which is about as good as you can ask for. I think his end of the season was kind of shaky and he dropped outside the top 10, but still had a good season nevertheless. I predicted him P17. I also didn't have a lot of faith in him.
I predicted him 20th, so I apologize.
Oh
I really apologize
God.
to Isaac Hajar. I expected him to be yet another useless rookie in the Red Bull team, but I really cannot wait for the next season because I expect great things from him.
Yeah, moving on to by far my worst statistical prediction, that is Nico Hulkenberg, who finished 11th, and I put him 21st, back of the grid. Yeah, Nico Hulkenberg.
Yeah.
I thought the Sauber was going to be bad, and I even thought that he wouldn't even beat Gabriel Bortoleto, but that was far from the truth. He finished on the podium for the first time in his career, and finished with 51 points, which is unbelievable, and ran in the top 10 for like the majority of the season. So great season from Nico. I sincerely apologize. I will never disrespect this man ever again.
Yeah, I had him P17, not as bad, but still like probably his best season so far in F1. I don't know. I mean, when he was in Force India, he had strong seasons, but this one, considering the machinery, really impressive.
Yeah, same as Harry. I really did not expect this guy to ever reach the podium, and actually I'm impressed. This was one of the biggest F1 fairy tales that I have seen. I was so happy for him when that happened, because after a quadrillion races, he finally managed to get that podium. Going to P10, which was Fernando Alonso, who started the season in a very poor fashion, but after that, he showed who is the boss. Especially the last race was probably his best of the season because he was so confident in that car. It didn't seem like he's 45.
Almost 45.
Yeah.
Actually.
Yeah, he actually did not score any points in the first 8 rounds, and it was looking dire, but incredible pace after that. In Hungary, P5 was his best result, very impressive, and he climbed all the way up to 10th, something I didn't predict. I predicted him P13. I thought the Aston Martin was going to be pretty bad, and it was pretty bad, but I think there were moments where he managed to outperform the car, and at the end of the season he racked up some points which managed to get him up a few more places. So yeah, I was 3 places off with that, as I had him P13.
I actually also had him P13. So yeah, the guy's already...
Yeah, I had him in P11, which was much closer to that. But going to 9th place, which was Carlos Sainz, who also started the season shaky, but after that he felt much more secure in that team. And actually, we saw a great progress from Williams throughout the whole season.
Yeah, I actually nailed this one. I have in P9, and I expected him to outperform Alex Albon, even though he actually did it during the end of the season because Alex Albon was nowhere like after the summer break. But really impressive. He got 2 podiums in the Williams, and I mean, after a shaky start, he seems like he wants to just continue this trend in 26 and outperform Albon.
Yeah, Carlos Sainz, terrible starts this season. Alex Albon was dominating him, but he scored 2 podiums in a Williams. Unbelievable. And yeah, he surged up the standings, unsurprising. Otherwise, he was going to finish like 14th or something. And yeah, those incredible results lifted him up to 9th. Still didn't outscore Alex Albon, but yeah, I also got it spot on, P9. Happy with this one. And yeah, I think Carlos Sainz can definitely be pleased with this season, even though in the end he didn't outscore Alex Albon.
Yeah, I also had Carlos Sainz P9, pretty good season from him, and I think the future is bright for him in Williams. And after that, P8. In P8 we had Alex Albon, quite unexpected. I didn't not have any expectations for him, and that is why I placed him at number 12.
Yeah, I placed him P11, slightly better, but I don't think almost anyone expected Alex Albon to beat Carlos Sainz, and his first half of the season was so good. I genuinely thought he was a top 3 driver performing wise on the grid at the summer break. But after that, after Monza, last 8 rounds of the season, he did not score a single point in the Grand Prix, only finished 6th in a sprint race, and that was all the points he got at the end of the season, which was quite miserable. His qualifying was awful. I don't really know what happened to him at the end of the season, but Carlos Sainz completely turned it around. But I think Alex Albon can still be proud with 4 top 5 finishes this season, which is definitely impressive.
Yeah, it was impressive, but like I also got in P11. It was a tale of 2 halves, so he needs to make sure to be more consistent for next year if he wants to beat Carlos. And going to P7, which is Kimi Antonelli, and I also got this one correct, as I knew that the top 6 would be like certain, like that. I actually didn't expect him to be that close to Lewis Hamilton. He only finished 6 points behind him, considering like he got how many podiums? 3 in total?
3, yeah.
Yeah.
Podiums.
I mean, impressive end of the season, especially for Kimi. But yeah.
Yeah, Kimi, I think he showed the potential that he has. People actually really forget that Australia race where he went from like the back of the grid to P4 in his first ever race, which was quite impressive. Really good pace, very inconsistent at times, was making a lot of rookie errors, but I think huge learning season for him. And next year, I think he'll be really good. He was really impressive this year. I wouldn't say he exceeded my expectations. I expected him to be good, but yeah, he did have a lot of shaky moments. But overall, I think he can definitely be proud with what he did. I also predicted him 7th, spot on. So that's my 3rd correct prediction.
Especially if the next season he has a great car from Mercedes, he can do miracles in that car. I had him 8 because I had too much belief in Liam Lawson, which once again, apologies. But yeah, 1 place off. And going to probably the most disappointing driver of the season, and that is Lewis Hamilton, who was 6th, but he was very close to Antonelli, and especially in the second part of the year, he was nowhere to be seen. I had Hamilton P4. Actually, he was P6.
Yeah, I also had Hamilton P4. I think, yeah, there were times I think where he did get unlucky and could have scored that podium, which he never got. But the end of the season was really miserable. Like, the pace was not there, the qualifying was awful, and yeah, he wanted it to be over and done with. The Ferrari also, development didn't help whatsoever. So yeah, definitely a season to forget for Lewis, but yeah, next year, you know the Ferrari mentality. So yeah, we'll see how it turns out.
I would never trust Ferrari again.
Hey,
Never.
he still won a sprint race, don't never forget.
Highlight of the year, yeah.
Yes.
I also got in P4. every one of us believed that he will be P4, and he kind of disappointed us, but yeah.
Next, we have another Ferrari driver, Charles Leclerc, who I predicted to be second. Never trust Ferrari again. I would never trust them. Like, even if they're like 77 seconds in front of everybody, race pace during the training sessions in Bahrain during the testing.
Yeah.
I would never trust them. Like, this is the worst team in the sport. I don't know what do they do with so much money, amazing facilities, the biggest team of them all, just to, like, I don't know, to be beaten on a regular basis by Isaac fucking Hadjar.
Wow.
I mean, regular basis is a bit of an exaggeration, but sure.
You said it that he has more Q3 appearances.
Yeah,
than
yeah,
Lewis
yeah,
Hamilton.
that's true. That's true. But Charles Leclerc, I think he had a Charles Leclerc type of season, really. He was very good, as he usually is. Car was just terrible, but he still scored 7 podiums in this car, which I think is very impressive. If only he got that Monaco pole position, he would have won that race. Hungary, that was pain, but yeah, there were some strong moments, but the car was so inconsistent, especially in race pace. The tire wear was awful. They seriously need to work on this. Luckily, it's new regulations, so they won't have to worry about this car anymore. But yeah, oh, I forgot to mention, where did I predict Charles Leclerc? I predicted him to win the championship. Yeah, moving on. Harry.
Unfortunately, I also was aboard the Ferrari hype train, and I said that he'll be world champion.
They looked so good. They looked so good. They had the lineup. I felt like they had the car finally, and then it just fell apart from round
I
one.
expected them to develop their car,
Yeah.
like to invest more,
I
but
expected development as well.
they didn't. So
That was shocking how the
Yeah.
development went, but
let's move on. I don't want to spend too much time on Leclerc more than that. P4, it was George Russell. I put him P6. I didn't believe in the boy, but like he delivered. He is so consistent most of the time. Like he had a few not that good performances at the end of the season, but still, overall, 2 wins. Like the only non-Max McLaren driver to win this year. I mean, all of us can say that he had a pretty good season.
yeah, I mean, I also predicted him P6. It's not like I didn't believe in him. I just thought that the top 5, I just didn't think Mercedes would have that good of a car.
Same.
But George Russell bet his best season by far. 2 wins to go along with how many podiums? 4, 5, 6, 7, 9 podiums. He was championship contender even start of the season, if you remember. He was actually pretty close on the points, but then eventually dropped off. But still, miles ahead of both Ferraris in the championship. Double the points of his teammate. Very impressive. Mr. Consistency, George Russell, as he's known for. But yeah, I was extremely impressed by him.
Me too. I also put him at 6, not because I did not believe in him, but because I believe that Mercedes would have worse car, and actually Ferrari proved me wrong. But what I saw from Russell this season is championship material, championship contender, and I feel like Mercedes would nail the regulations. So in the first 1-2 seasons of the new regulations, I think that George Russell would be in the best position of his whole career to get 1 or 2 World Drivers' Championships.
We shall see what kind of car they make at the end of the day. Now on to the top 3, the 3 championship contenders. And 3rd place was Oscar Piastri, the man that led the majority of the season. And I got him spot on. P3, I thought he was going to be really good. I thought he was going to be a championship contender. And he was. I'm actually kind of disappointed that I got this spot on because, in my opinion, he should have finished higher. But that end of the season really killed off his title aspirations, even though I loved his season. I thought he was, at the start of the season, by far the best driver on the grid. So calm, so composed, so good in wheel-to-wheel driving. super clinical. I felt like the ending kind of tailed off as a shame, and also the team orders controversies that happened over the season were, I think, definitely affected his mentality. But he ended the season, I would say, pretty strong. But that spell of 6 races from Baku to Las Vegas really killed his title hopes. But to be only 13 points off the championship, I think he can still be proud of this season.
I don't know what happened during these races because everything was looking like it was going in his direction, and after that, it was just misery for 6 races. I have predicted him to be fifth because, first of all, I did not really expect McLaren to have that dominant of a car, and also I thought that he would need one more season to step his game, but actually he proved from the first race of the season that he's ready, and he took P3. So impressive season from him, and I want to see him in the battle once again if McLaren can provide him with competitive car.
I just wanted to ask you, because you said George Russell proved himself as a championship material. Do you think Oscar Piastri proved himself as championship material?
Yes, but he also proved that he has a lot to learn also, but we cannot really blame him. Like George Russell has been like 5 or 6 more years in the sport, I think.
Since
So
2019.
So 4 years?
4 years.
Yeah, 4 years. Because Oscar entered 2023.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. But the point is that Oscar proved that he can be fast. He just needs to be consistent all the time.
Yeah, I agree. I also got him spot on, P3. I actually did not expect him to play such a large role in the championship fights, but he proved, as we said, that he is capable of it, so impressive season. And going to P2, this is one of my worst ones, I would say, is Max Verstappen. I said he would be P5. I didn't believe in this Red Bull at all in the beginning of the season. I underestimated his capability, Max's capability, because, like, as we know, he won 4 championships in a row, and I should have expected him to be at the same level this season, but I didn't, and now I'm regretting this decision.
Well, I would say, I don't think, because I predicted him 5th as well, I just thought the McLaren and Ferrari were going to be levels above the Red Bull. And that wasn't really the case at all. I mean, maybe the McLaren, yes, but the Ferrari, absolutely not. And then Red Bull, once they changed Christian Horner for Lauren, like the whole car just completely transformed, and their development became really good, and their second half was so strong. I really thought the car seriously improved, and it improved to such an extent where Max ended the season with 10 consecutive podiums and most wins in the season, most pole positions in the season, only ended 2 points off of the championship. So yeah, hats off to Max Verstappen, very impressive. I think, yeah, quite unfortunate he was only 2 points off the championship, but considering the expectations going into the season, I don't think you can be too mad at that result.
Yeah, amazing season from Verstappen. I think it was the second part of the season was one of the most impressive runs that I have seen from an F1 driver. He was 106 points behind Piastri at some point, and he finished 11 points in front of him, which is crazy. And I predicted him to win the championship, and I cannot really be mad with that because the butterfly effect. Only 1 or 2 things should have been different, and the championship could have swung actually in any of the 3 directions. But yeah, I definitely feel proud from what Max have achieved because he just proved his worth and how amazing of a pilot he is. And can we move to the constructors?
Also,
Just to
quickly,
mention-
the world champion, Lando Norris.
Where did we put him?
I predicted him P2. I thought he was going to be, once again, very close to the title, like last year. I mean, last year wasn't very close to the title, but he did finish runner-up. I thought he was going to be close, but I thought he was going to get outperformed by Charles Leclerc, which did not happen. Lando won the championship by 2 points, ahead of Max Verstappen. Fair play. I got it wrong. I just it was so tough to believe in Lando Norris, especially after last season, but he managed to prove the haters wrong and did not fumble the championship at the end, even though it looked like he may do it after Qatar. But he locked in and did what he needed to do in Abu Dhabi to make the championship.
I predicted him to be third, and I expected a big step up from him, but actually that was bigger than I expected, and especially the second part of the season, because during the first part it was looking like Oscar was comfortably beating him, and after that he just locked in, and everything turned out great to him, because yeah, definitely he had a bit of luck, but like you need to be great and to have great results in order for the luck to help you, and that was the case there, and I think the championship was deserved.
Yeah, I also put in P2 just like David, and I'm actually fine with this result.
What are your final scores, guys?
Yeah.
Actually, I
Difference.
miscalculated mine, and
Okay.
it is minus 61.
Oh, I am 66.
I'm 60, so I actually went by one.
Wow.
Okay.
And how many accurate, like spot on, did you guys have? I had 4.
I have 5.
I have 4.
Okay, so I win in this
Okay,
one as well.
Ernie
Okay.
is the prediction king for this
Wow.
year.
Yeah, I guess.
I was this close to winning. Just Max Verstappen had to be like 3 points ahead, and we would have had different conversations.
Even with 2
here.
points, he would have, because he had more wins than Lando. So even 2 points would have been.
Yeah.
If only someone didn't gain 2 points on the final lap of the Qatar Grand
Wow.
Prix.
Okay, let's not go back to this. Let's move on to the constructors, and we're gonna start once again from 10th to 1st. So in 10th place, all of us I think put Kirk Sauber.
Yep.
Yeah. As we did not believe in this team, we thought that would be completely like well behind the others.
Sauber, I expected Sauber to be what Alpine was this season.
Yeah.
If you know what I
Even
mean.
worse.
Even
Well, I expected them. I didn't think
22
that.
points.
Yeah, 22 points was probably far-fetched, but I expected them to have like 10, 15 points throughout the season, some odd 7, 8 place here and there, but I definitely, if somebody told me that Nico Hülkenberg is going to take podium with that Sauber at the beginning of the season, I was going to be like,
They had 70 points
70.
and they still finished 9th. That's so sad.
which is crazy.
So
The
sad.
midfield was really interesting this
It was
season, and
incredible.
we had some very close battles.
Yeah.
I also put Sauber 9th because. Sorry, I put them 10th
10th,
because why would I think that any other team would be better than them? In 9th, I put Haas. They finished 8th. They were pretty close to 9th. Actually, I think they had a pretty good season for their standards. They racked up a lot of points. Just the competition was very high, so they couldn't get a higher position.
Yeah. I also put him 9th. I think that Oli Behrman's P4 in Mexico really helped. Like,
So close. I really
Yeah.
hoped. I prayed for the Haas podium finally. It
Yeah.
was so close, actually.
I think that is at that point that is never going to happen.
well, I mean, Nico
He was
Hülkenberg
one-
podium happened, so.
Yes, but
Right.
I don't know. They need to bring Günther Steiner back in order for them to get a podium. I think this is the spell that they need to break. My 9th place was wait, we're talking about
Your prediction for who finished 9th?
9th.
Racing Bulls,
Ah.
and it was I was
Ooh.
yeah
Ooh.
3 places. I didn't expect them to have that car, and I was actually surprised and really liked Isaac Hadjar, contrary to all my predictions before the season. So as I said, I really want to see him in that Red Bull, whether he's going to break that curse. My 8th place is actually spot on. I had Haas in 8th.
I had Aston Martin. They finished 7th, 10 points ahead of Haas. Yeah, slightly better than what I thought, but I'm actually glad that I was very pessimistic within the start of the season because I really thought they were going to be awful this year. And for the most part, they were not in the top 7 until the end of the season. So I'm still okay with this prediction.
Yeah, same as David. I had Aston Martin. And as he said, like, yeah, fine season. Nothing spectacular. Moving up the grid, I had Racing Bulls in 7th, and they were pretty close to that. So like Aston Martin could have jumped them in Abu Dhabi, but it was a 3 points difference. But as we said, impressive car by Racing Bulls. Really, like, they also got a podium once again. Actually, they have been getting a few podiums here and there in the past seasons and a win as well. So, yeah.
Yeah, I also had Racing Bulls in 7th. It was Aston Martin who got 7th, Racing Bulls got 6th. But yeah, I expected them to be pretty decent, and they were even better than what I thought they were going to be, so well done to them.
I had Aston Martin in 7th. Which
Wow.
yeah,
Spot on.
which is
Nice.
spot on.
Back to back. Nice.
Yeah, and only Alpine. They were
Yeah.
they were disgusting. I've placed them at 6th. I think both of you
Yeah.
have placed them
Yeah.
at 6th
Yeah.
as well. And also another lesson, kids, don't trust Ferrari and Alpine. Never.
Why did Ferrari catch straight for no reason there? I guess we'll get on to the predictions for them.
you see.
Yeah. Alpine, yeah, I predicted them 6th, they finished 10th. Nothing really to say more. I think we discussed Alpine enough this.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
enough of Alpine. Actually, let's go to 5th place.
I think we
Spot
all
on.
have
Yeah.
we all have similar.
This was the
predictions.
safest prediction I felt like,
Yeah.
honestly, for the
Yeah.
entire season. Even though I think their development fell, Williams were super consistent and their drivers performed pretty well. So well deserved P5.
Yeah, well deserved P5. They had great lineup. I really like their lineup during this season, and I think
This was
I've said it numerous times, but Sainz and Albon, if you give them a competitive car, I think they can be a trouble to the top teams.
well, yeah. I mean, we've seen Sainz in a competitive car before, so we know he can get these results. P4, I predicted Red Bull, and my logic was that they are a one-man team and need 2 drivers to outscore the others. And yet, they were a one-man team, but that didn't stop them from outscoring the others, so they finished in P3, of course.
Same logic as David, as I put Max Verstappen in 5th in the Drivers' Championship, and I thought, yeah, that will be not enough to be higher than P4 in the Constructors. But
It was so bizarre because Ferrari were actually like 2nd until like 6 races until the end, and then they just absolutely fell off a cliff. So
yeah,
yeah,
I think your disrespect to Max Verstappen has been too much, and I hope that next season you
this
learn your
prediction
lesson.
had nothing to do with Max
Yeah.
Verstappen.
I have Mercedes at P4, and actually they were around P4 for most of the season. But
They were
actually,
never in P4.
No, they were
They were
P3, I
always
think.
ahead of Red Bull
Yeah.
the entire season.
and then they actually managed to jump into P2. So.
okay, there was a moment in the season where the 3 teams were pretty close, but after that we saw that Verstappen had great pace, Antonelli and Russell had great pace, and Ferrari were
Yeah.
Ferrari. So that's why I have Mercedes at P4. Actually, they had an alright car and their drivers performed. So yeah, they finished in P2. In P3, I have Red Bull.
In P3, wow, you got that spot on.
Yep.
But I have Mercedes. I mean, it's fine. It's whatever. They were 18 points off of 3rd place. I can't be too dissatisfied, but they were definitely better than what I thought they were, so credit.
Yeah,
credit
yeah.
to them.
Yeah, I also had Mercedes. I'm kind of dissatisfied because I didn't believe in the team I support, and I believed in Ferrari too much, which leads me to my 2nd
I
place.
think we've learned that it's best to be pessimistic about our favorite teams.
Yeah. Well, let's see for 26. I am actually optimistic about my favorite team, but
I'm on the
Good
fence.
for you.
I'm on the fence for my team.
yeah, but P2 I had Ferrari. You guys?
P2, I also had Ferrari.
I had McLaren.
Oh,
Okay.
So who's the delusional Ferrari fan, actually?
I mean, yeah, actually,
Sorry for no. That was like okay. Let's think clearly now. Tests, they have shown us that Ferrari are fast, and they have the freaking 7-time world champion, and the guy who is like people think of him as God himself.
the quality master.
Yeah, and actually
Yeah.
he's like
Next coming of
Leclerc.
Schumacher.
Yeah, Leclerc is great, but Leclerc is so far away from the greatest in the sport, and I think people consider him, I don't know, in the same bracket as talent-wise as people like Alonso and Vettel, and I think this is disrespectful at that point.
I don't think
He-
it's at all disrespectful.
He never proved that he can be considered
think
that like
He's
he
better
has
than the current world champion, in my opinion. So
Yes, but he's
agree.
no better than, let's say, George Russell.
he is. but
Actually,
for-
I really want to see him and George Russell in the same car. I think George Russell would beat Charles Leclerc
Charles.
comfortably
No,
in the
no.
same car.
Literally
Wow.
no chance.
That's an interesting take.
This was already the first ever season George Russell's beaten Charles Leclerc in the standings, so let's calm down.
Yes, but you.
Anyways, who was your constructors champion?
George Russell was competing in Williams when Leclerc
Who
was
did you-
competing in
Who
Ferrari.
did you predict for your constructors champions?
The meme team, Ferrari.
Okay. I actually nailed this one.
Yeah, this is-
I have
this is-
McLaren. David?
I also had McLaren.
Okay, yeah.
And they won it like halfway through. They won it pretty much in round
Yeah,
one,
yeah, yeah.
actually.
Well,
So,
anyway, everybody makes mistakes. It's fine, Vasco. You will learn your lesson from this.
yeah, my
Yeah.
final score for the constructors was a 12-point difference.
Actually, same, yeah. Vasco, yours?
It is 14,
Oh.
and somehow it is 14, but I have 4 spot-on predictions.
So you beat us.
I actually only have
on this
2
one.
spot-on predictions.
Yeah, I have 2 as
but,
well.
Yeah, the others were
So
just
it's
better
pretty
ones.
evenly matched. Let's say it's a tie for the constructors. 'Cause Vasco
No. I take the L here. I take the L here
Okay,
because
okay.
I think I would have. No, we all would have been on 12 if I at least predicted
But you would
McLaren.
have, you would have
yeah.
had 6 correct constructors.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah. You
imagine.
would have beat us. Yeah. Anyway,
But
Yeah.
yeah. And my wild prediction was that Kimi Antonelli would win a race, and he got 3 podiums, and he finished second in Sao Paulo, but
he did.
didn't get the win. But oh my God, if I got this right, I would have been absolutely ecstatic with this. I was pretty close, but I
Imagine
didn't get it.
someone said Nico Hülkenberg to get a podium. This would have been the best prediction ever, honestly. Yeah. Yours, Vasco?
I have one pretty good and one pretty bad prediction. First one was that Lawson would be better than Checo Perez. Not with a lot, but he would be better. Spoiler alert, he was not. And the other one was that at least 2 people outside of the top 4 teams would get on the podium. We actually had 3 people. My prediction was for Sainz and Gasly. Gasly, Alpine, you know the drill already, so let's not talk about Alpine. But Sainz actually got on the podium even twice, which was pretty impressive. And also we had Hajar and Hülkenberg, who I think deservedly went on the podium. So I think that this prediction is on the better side.
Yeah, definitely better than mine. I said that Lance Stroll is not going to score more than 5 points throughout the whole season. And he managed to score more than that in Australia. So, very poor prediction on my side. I'm not proud. But, I mean, his form after the summer break showed that the old Lance Stroll we all know is back. So,
And actually, he's not back. He's always been there.
yeah, there was just some glimpse of a different person during the beginning of the season, but then Fernando Alonso decided to become himself once again and just destroyed him completely.
Yep.
Yeah, and I think that's it, right?
Yeah,
Yep.
we can wrap up.
This
We
is
can
all.
wrap up.
This is all for today from us. We're looking forward to the next episode. Until then, like, subscribe, and follow us in AUBG Daily on Instagram and Facebook. And stay tuned for more of our content. Thank you. And remember,
If you no longer go for a gap that exists,
You're no longer a racing driver.